I hope we are all fine. We want to begin with a word of prayer from our team, Mercy. Mercy, give us the opening prayer. Mercy, are you there?
Oh, yeah, I was muted, sorry. Let's humble ourselves and we pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for today. We thank you for this beautiful moment that you've given us to have our geography seminar. We thank you for bringing us to the lesson safely, and we thank you for bringing our teachers too. But as we're going to learn and as our presenters are going to discuss, we pray that you guide our minds, guide our thoughts, give us the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, Father. Please be with us throughout this lesson till the end, Father. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Mercy.
You're welcome.
And with that, I believe we are ready to start. I'm very sure we all received the questions for the seminar. They were sent to you yesterday. So you would be referring to the different questions, but let me also screen share those questions for those who don't have them. And I want to thank all those people who took off their time and prepared to do a presentation in this seminar. I don't know how many people are ready to present. I've received work for about 2 people, but I want us to start with the objectives. Is there anyone who wants to take us through the objectives? We have Pretty. Pretty, you have disappeared. What happened? Pretty is going to take us through the objectives, and our work is to agree with her. However, if you don't agree with her option, then you'd have to put up your hand and we see what you have to tell us, okay? So Pretty, we are ready to listen to you. Pretty, we can't hear you, okay?
Hello.
Yes, louder, please. Pretty, are you there?
Yes, yes, I'm there.
So are you ready to start?
Yes.
Okay. So take us through number 1. You read the question, you give us the option, and then we'll see if we agree with you.
Okay. Number 1, which of the following drainage partners have developed on Mount Muhavura?
What is your option?
It's B. No, D.
B?
D. D.
It's D?
Yes.
The rest of us in class, what do we say? Do you agree with Pretty?
Excuse me, Mrs. Serianga.
Yes, Teacher Juliet.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I think instead of her just mentioning the letter, she could read what does D or B, whatever she's saying, says.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Pretty, have you heard that?
Yes, teacher.
May you give us the
number
option
1,
and then you also...
Number 1 is dendritic.
So members, we are asking which of the drainage features is has developed on Mountain Muhavura, and she's giving us D, which is dendritic. Do we agree with her?
Mrs. Seriange,
Yes, I'm sharing the questions.
I'm wondering whether I'm the only one who is seeing nothing on the screen. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. But they have the questions. Okay, the questions are there. So when you look at question 1, according to Pretty, it is option D. And my question is that what we are all saying?
Someone in the chat is asking, what does dendritic mean?
Teacher Judith, can you respond to that?
I thought we'd first hear from them. I don't know.
Okay. We have Phil. Phil, yes.
It is a radio system.
The what?
Radio system.
Radio system.
Yes.
So according to Phil, for him is saying that for question 1, it should be option A. Anyone else? Actually, without wasting a lot of time, option A, sorry, question 1, option A is the best answer. Yes, all those are drainage patterns that have developed in the different areas, but specifically for Mountain Muhavura, we are saying it is option A. Okay.
Mrs. Seriange?
Yes, Teacher Judith.
Okay, maybe I could help answer the person who is asking what dendritic is, and then maybe tell them why the answer is radio, not release or something else. So when you talk about the radio drainage pattern, it is the drainage pattern where we are having so many rivers originating from one center. We have rivers are draining or moving to different directions, but then these rivers come from one center, which center can be a dome, it could be a lake or anything, but we know that rivers originate from higher altitudes to lower altitudes. So when you look at Muhavura, then you'd understand that it is a dome or it's a mountain, and therefore we have different rivers that originate from there, moving to different directions, and therefore that's why the answer is radio. And then with dendritic, we have a river with its branches or tributaries looking like a tree and its branches. That is when we have the dendritic drainage pattern. You can talk about this river and its tributaries forming a shape of a sensory nerve or a shape of a tree and its tributaries. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Juliet. Philip seems to have a question. Philip, yes. Okay, he has declined. Can we move on to question 2? Pretty, we're still continuing with you.
Yes. Question 2, chemical weathering in East Africa mainly occurs on areas of C, high temperatures.
Chemical weathering in East Africa mainly occurs on the areas of, according to Pretty, she's saying we should take option C, which is high temperatures. The rest of us, anyone who is saying no to that? Yes, Lena?
I actually think it is heavy rainfall totals.
Lena is saying chemical weathering will occur where we have in areas that receive heavy rainfall totals, and that is option D. Philip, what do you have to say?
I also take the same.
You also
D.
take D or you take C?
D.
You take D, okay? So we are saying that chemical weathering in East Africa mainly occurs in areas where that receive the heavy rains, okay? Pretty, please make that correction. It's supposed to be D. Number 3, Pretty.
Which of the following factors has mainly influenced the location of Hima Cement Factory? It's C, abundant raw materials.
Okay, thank you. So when you look at number 3, they are saying which of the following factors has mainly been influenced or has influenced the location of the Hima Cement Factory. So we are saying when you look at all those factors, they are actually true or they are right, okay? But we are saying mainly which one, okay? And we all know that the Hima Cement Factory is found in Kasese, okay, where there is limestone. And therefore our answer is option C, that is looking at abundant raw materials. Question 4, Pretty.
The physical feature which is commonly found in the Nyika Plateau of East Africa is A, craters.
Do you agree with Pretty that option 4 is craters? Members in the class, I want someone to agree or to disagree. We don't know. Yes, Phil?
B.
Phil, what are you saying?
B. I take option B.
You take option B. What is
Yes.
option B?
Batholith.
Okay. Anyone else? We'll have Jackie. Jackie, which one are you taking?
Option C.
Option C. What is option C? Jackie, what is option C?
Inselbergs.
Okay, so we're saying that the physical feature, which is commonly found in the Nyika Plateau of East Africa, is actually inselbergs. Okay, and that is option C. Okay. Patience, do you have a question? Patience, you have the rights.
Yes, madam, I wanted to answer.
What was your option?
Was C.
C. Okay, thank you very much. Back to Pretty. Question 5.
There is also Treasure. Her hand is up.
Oh, Treasure, sorry, I don't see.
I want to ask how it comes about that it's an inselberg.
Question, sorry, Treasure, I didn't get you.
I wanted to ask how it comes about to be an inselberg, not a crater.
Not a crater. Teacher Juliet.
Yes, please.
She's asking, how come it's an inselberg, not a crater?
I don't know if she knows what a plateau is. When you talk about the Nyika Plateau, this question was got from the first topic that you study in paper 1, the geography of East Africa, where I talk about the relief regions. And the Nyika Plateau is one of these relief regions. And when we look at this area, it is an area that is, we can't say that it is too much within the Rift Valley. So in this area, we do not have so many craters. We have most of the craters within the Rift Valley region. And instead, what we have here are the inselberg. Now to Philip, who had said batholiths are intrusive features, and therefore we cannot see them. When they are exposed and then they are seen, they cease to be called batholiths, and then they are called inselbergs. So that's why the answer is inselbergs, not batholiths or craters.
Okay, thank you. Treasure, I hope they've answered your question. Pretty, number 5.
Which of the following processes is responsible for the formation of Lake Mnyanyaje? I think it's C. No, B.
B, eh? Glacial deposition.
Yeah.
Are you aware that glacial deposition occurs in the lowlands mainly?
Yes.
So do we still take option B?
C.
C. C
Yeah.
is downwarping. How many lakes do we have in Uganda that were formed as a result of downwarping? And which lakes are those? Pretty?
Yes.
Yeah, the question goes to you, but anyone else can answer. How many downwarped lakes do we have in Uganda? Yes, Brian.
Yes, we have Lake Victoria, Lake Choga.
Brian is saying we have Lake Victoria and then Lake Choga. Do we have any other downwarped lake? Treasure?
Wouldn't I disagree if they said Lake Choga because it is in the Rift Valley?
Lake Choga is what?
Isn't it in the Rift Valley?
Which one? Which part of the Rift Valley? There's a difference between Lake Choga and Lake Albert. Gloria Divine? Divine, yes. Unmute.
I think it is. I think the answer is B. Folding.
Defolding.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any fold mountains in you know, now this one is not even a lake, it's a what? It is a mountain. We mainly have fold mountains and fold hills in East Africa. Where in East Africa, Divine? Can I remind us that when it comes to the objectives, make sure you apply the elimination method. If, for example, talking about formation of lakes, okay? We don't have fold lakes, but at least we have downwarped lakes, we have fold lakes, and also have glacial lakes, okay? So definitely that one we shall eliminate folding because we don't have fold lakes. Then we have seen already that we have 2 downwarped lakes in East Africa, and that is Lake Choga and then Lake Victoria. So already we have eliminated option C and D. So we have the 2, A and B. So which is which?
A.
Lina?
Okay, according to my answer is B, faulting.
To you, B is, faulting is B?
No, rather, sorry. My answer is A, faulting. It's not B.
Why?
Okay, when you talk of this lake, according to me, I think it's Lake Katwe and it's in Kasese. Okay, it's as a result of faulting because like comes about when, oh God.
You're on the right track?
Okay, this lake was formed after tensional forces acted and formed fault, something of a kind. Okay, I can't really explain how faulting comes about, but I know it's a fault mountain. Maybe fault lake, but maybe someone can help me with that.
So anyone who wants to explain to us the process of faulting, first of all, we want to agree that this is a Rift Valley lake. Okay. And someone mentioned that it's found in Kasese, somewhere in Kasese. And we all know that in Kasese, yes, it is in the Rift Valley area. And therefore, it is a fault lake. But can someone remind us about that process, how it leads to formation of lakes? Mercy. Wanji. Let's first hear from Mercy.
Okay. Okay, madam. Madam, I think like the thing of faulting, to be subject to tensional forces or compression forces. But to tensional forces, the forces will what? Okay, the earth will be subject to tensional forces, which leads to cracks or faults. Like if those forces for tensional keep on proceeding, then the earth will sink downwards. Then to form a rift valley. Maybe when it rains, then water will become stagnant there, then come into a lake.
Okay, thank you, Mercy. Yes, then Teacher Juliet.
Okay.
Oh, okay, continue. Mercy, you wanted to add something? Mercy, unmute.
Okay, for the compression, yeah. Then, okay, they are the forces you put, Madam, I've done it. Okay. Then for the compression forces, the earth will be subject to the forces.
I don't know what happened. Mercy, we have lost you. Teacher Juliet, you are saying?
Okay. I needed to help clarify on something. There was so many questions in the chat, people asking in which country is this lake and all that. So Lake Nyanyangwe, at least one person answered, it is in Kasese. It is near Lake Katwe. It is found within the Rift Valley. And we definitely know that within the Rift Valley, we have so many lakes. Some lakes were formed as a result of faulting. Some lakes were formed as a result of volcanicity. However, the reason why we have faulting here is before some of these other lakes were formed, which were formed by faulting, it was the Rift Valley first. And the Rift Valley came as a result of faulting. So when faulting took place, then it gave way for the magma to escape. And then this magma, as it was escaping, it created those craters that you can choose to call the ring craters that we find within the Rift Valley. And therefore, that's why when you look at question 5, and we're asking about Lake Nyanyangwe, A is the right answer. Why? Because where it is found, it is faulting that is close to the answer, much as Nyanyangwe is a ring crater lake. I don't know if I'm confusing people or it helps understand.
I think it's better, okay? From the chat, I'm seeing Janet. Yes. Janet, yes, we agree with you that faulting is as a result of compression and tensional forces. And I agree with your explanation. Thank you very much. Precious. Precious is putting up her hand.
Mrs. Seriange, just one more minute.
Yes.
In the chat, there is this person, Galaxy 18, who tried to clarify it much better. Crater Lake formed by volcanicity within the Rift Valley. So it is within the Rift Valley, but we did not have volcanicity. When you look at the person who said this question, wanted students to relate these different processes. that it is actually faulting that led to the formation of Lake Nyanyangwe. Thank you.
Thank you too. Precious, what were you saying?
Madam, I just want to repeat a statement one time that something disconnected itself and I'm just I didn't get what you're saying.
Precious, your network is breaking. I actually didn't understand your question. Precious?
I didn't get what Madam was saying.
Let's put her question in that chat.
Precious, put your question in the chat, then we shall respond to that one. Thank you. And lastly, Innocent.
Madam, do you get me?
Yes.
Like me, I wanted to know about the effect of compressional forces on formation of fault lakes.
Teacher Juliet, effect of compressional forces.
Okay, when we talk about the fault lakes are the Rift Valley lakes or the Graben lakes. These are the lakes formed as a result of secondary faulting. Which secondary faulting can be as a result of tension or compression. As simple as that. So if you understand the formation of the Rift Valley, then you know that the first faulting led to the formation of the Rift Valley. Then the second faulting created a depression on the floor of the Rift Valley that we call a graben. So this second faulting can be as a result of tension, can be as a result of compression.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Juliet. Pretty, are you there? Number 6?
Yes, teacher. Which of the following units is used for measuring and recording atmospheric humidity? It's D.
D, millbars?
Yes, teacher.
Yours is millbars, yeah? D is millbars, according to what we have on the screen. Now I go back to the class. Class, what do you think? Patience is saying, I don't know what she's saying. Okay, Patience. Patience?
The answer is D.
The answer is?
Hello?
Yes.
The answer is D.
C, eh?
D.
So Patience, eh?
D, the answer is D.
So Patience is saying that the answer is C. That atmospheric humidity, BC.
D.
D, eh? Millbars.
Yes.
Okay, that is Patience. Even Pretty was saying the same thing. Lina, what do you say?
Okay, according to me, I agree with her because A percentage, no, it's not used. Millimeters is for temperature, then degrees is for, no, millimeters is for rainfall, degrees is for temperature, so leaving us with millbars as the answer. I agree.
Okay, so Lina's eliminated D, even A and B. So the answer is D. Janet, are you also saying the same thing? Most people are saying the answer is D.
Yeah, mine is D.
Yours is also D.
Yes.
Okay, and lastly we have Gloria. Gloria, for you, what are you saying?
D.
D, eh? So people are saying that option, question 6, the option is D. Juliet, should it be D?
The forest timber attack from the hostile native tribes, encroachment on land for agriculture.
Teacher Juliet?
Please.
Teacher Juliet, people are saying that for question 6, atmospheric humidity is measured and recorded using millbars.
Now let me refer them to when you're talking about relative humidity. I think we do this in senior 1, right? Mrs. Seriang, is that right? Don't we talk about this in senior 1? When you're talking about relative humidity, we give the answer, we look at relative humidity in what? Because it is all humidity, whether you talk about relative, where I talk about atmospheric. So when we are talking about relative humidity, you're talking about circulation, like fully circulated. We usually give the units. Which units do we give? I don't know if they remember that. So if they can relate those ones, then they would understand that we actually have relative atmospheric humidity in percentage, not in millbars.
People, did you hear that? When you talk about humidity, it is actually measured and recorded in percentage, not millbars, not millimeters, and not degrees. Okay, so we need to go back and revise about that one. And then you would agree with us that the option is A, not D. Pretty, where are you? Question 7.
Question 7. Which of the following is a major threat to wildlife conservation on Mount Elgon National Park? My answer is A, poaching of the wild game.
Okay, so we are saying the major, so maybe all the others are threats, okay? But we are saying the major one is, according to Pretty, she's saying poaching of the wild game. Do we agree with her? Anyone who wants to disagree with what, Innocent, I hope you're talking about question 7. Yes, Innocent.
No, like I wanted to ask question 7, I was supporting Pretty. The answer is, my answer too is watching of wildlife game.
Okay, so Innocent is also saying poaching of wild game. Precious, you only now put up your hand if it's different from what the other two have said. Yes, Precious.
Madam, for me, I disagree with
Precious and her network. Precious is actually saying encroachment on land for agriculture.
She can put her answer.
Precious, your network.
Yes. Let her use the chat.
Please put it in the chat because we can't get you, but no. But actually she was talking about encroachment on land for agriculture. Yes, it might be a threat, but not the major one, I think. Patience, do you have a different answer? So we agree with Pretty that for this one, Pretty and Innocent, that question 7, which I'll actually looking at, poaching of the wild game, which is option A. Pretty, number 8.
The rocks which are formed by wind deposition are called C.
We've lost her.
I'm there.
We are there. What is your answer?
It's C.
C, okay. So we are saying for number 8, it is C. I want us to rush through the objectives because we might finish the entire time looking at only objectives. Yes, Innocent.
My answer was D, that is sand.
Sand, yeah?
Yes.
It is actually C. Number 8 is C. Number 9, Pretty.
Which one of the following is a depositional feature? C, river cliff.
Do you all agree with her? Sorry, okay. Which one of the following is a depositional feature? And she said C, okay, a cliff being depositional. Sure? Innocent, what do you think?
I thought it's a black pool.
A plunge pool.
Yes,
plunge pool is plunge pool, not depositional. Plunge pool is not depositional. Who is this one? Munira? Munira? Munira, unmute.
I thought that it was C.
C, a cliff. You know, when we talk about depositional features, these are features that are formed in the lowlands. They're mainly formed in the lowlands. So do we usually have a cliff in the lowlands? Phil?
My answer is B.
Your answer is B?
Yes.
Slip up slope. Why?
Yeah.
Why are you saying it's B?
When you look at the cliff, the river cliff is not formed by deposition, it's formed by erosion.
Okay.
Because the river.
Continue. Phil, continue.
So that's the sand that is eroded will be washed off to the bank, the other side, which will be inland and will be depositional.
Okay. So actually the answer is B. Okay. Pretty. The answer is B for number 9. Pretty, number 10.
The commercial exploitation of forests in East Africa is mainly hindered by the, I think it's A, quality of timber produced.
The commercial exploitation of forests in East Africa is mainly hindered by the quality of timber. When you say the quality of timber, then you're saying the kind of timber we are producing in East Africa is not of good quality, because we're talking about the hindering the exploitation of these forests. That is pretty saying option A. The others, what are we saying? Janet?
Mine is D, competition from imported wood from other
competition
countries.
From imported wood. When we say competition from imported wood, then that means we have to make sure we compete favorably with the others. Luther, what do you have to say? Bukenya? Bukenya, we can't hear you. Bukenya, I can't get to you. Munira? Munira, what is your take? Is it my network or?
Let her use the chat. She's not clear.
Munira, please put your answer in the chat. Patience. Patience. Patience, the answer is what?
C.
C, eh? Poor techniques of harvesting.
It's C.
Poor techniques of...
B is scattered for
Teacher Juliet.
Yes, please.
I don't know what is happening, but
I think it's the network.
actually what is happening is that some of us who have actually unmuted without permission. Please remember to only unmute if I've given you permission. So when so many microphones are open, then we are bound to get that feedback, please. So Innocent, you have the rights now. What is the answer?
My answer was tree species.
Okay, so Innocent is saying it's B, scattered variable tree species. We all know that when it comes to forestry, we have the tropical rainforests, and they appear in mixed stands. So because they appear in mixed stands, then we are saying that the tree species are spread out in different areas. They're scattered. They're not found in one place. So that hinders the exploitation of these tree species, because one has to go into the forest and look out for the different or the specific species that they're looking out for. So our option is B. Number 11, Pretty.
Which of the following industries in East Africa employs the largest percentage of same-skilled labor? My answer is D, textile manufacture.
Largest percentage of semi-skilled labor. That one is very important, that you would even have to underline that one. So when you look at all these industries that they have talked about, which one mainly employs the semi-skilled labor? Do you still go with D, Pretty?
Yes.
Do we take your option D? So Pretty is saying that the textile manufacturing industry. The others, what are we saying? Umi? I don't know if it's Umi or... Boston?
The answer is A.
The answer is A, food processing industries. When you talk about food processing industries, you look at the beverage industries, the flour milling, and all those ones that process actually agricultural products. Are you sure they don't require skilled labor? They mainly employ semi-skilled. But that is his option, which is A. Anyone else? Ninsima? Agnes? Ninsima, you're not there. Okay, let me look at Galaxy S8. My answer is B. Your answer is? B. B, eh? Why? Because it has low labor. It has low labor issues, yeah? Okay, so someone else is saying, Galaxy 8 S8 is saying B, metal fabrication. Innocent, what do you have to say?
My answer.
Innocent, I didn't get you.
My answer too is B, metal fabrication.
B, metal fabrications. You've seen people designing window frames, door frames, and what? So those are mainly semi-skilled labor. They actually learn on the job, okay? So our option, or the answer is B. Pretty number 12.
The process by which temperature increases with an increase in altitude is known as?
So what is your answer? The process by which temperature increases with an increase in altitude is known as? Choktamba, what is your answer? Choktamba, unmute. Monica, your hand is up. Okay. Patience, sorry, Agnes. Agnes. Agnes is also not there. Patience, are you there? Patience, are you there? Choktamba, what did you say?
I think the answer is global warming.
Global warming. Process by which temperature increases with an increase in altitude. That cannot lead to global warming. Okay? It's not about increase in altitude. Okay, but thank you for trying. Patience? I didn't hear your option.
The answer is C.
The answer is C, temperature inversion. Tell us more about temperature inversion. She has declined. Helen, you want to tell us about temperature inversion or your option? Helen is also not there. So for 12, we're saying the answer is B, sorry, C. It is C, which is temperature inversion. Pretty, number 13.
Which of the following features are found in the upper course of a river? I think it's A.
Number 13, we are saying the option is A, where we have the waterfalls and interlocking spars. We have potholes, but we don't have levees in the upper course of the river. And yes, the option is A, okay? Number 14.
Which one of the following types of lakes was formed due to glaciation? Glaciation, I think they are B, lagoons.
So number 14, we're saying which of the following types of lakes was formed due to glaciation. According to Pretty, she's saying it's a lagoon or lagoons. And I'm seeing people putting up their hands. So let me see what they're saying. Jackie, what is your answer? Jackie, you can unmute. Which one is your answer? Jackie, yes? She has declined. Sharon? Sharon? Yes, Sharon, talk to us. You people. Number 14 is what we are looking at. Sharon, what is your answer? You're not there? Bukenya?
Teacher, I think it's D. Atan.
Atan, okay. So we all know that glacial lakes are known as Atan, and therefore the answer is D. Pretty number 15.
Which of the following would be the best way to control rural-urban migration in Uganda? It's D, establish settlement schemes in rural areas. D.
15, according to Pretty, she's saying that the answer is D. Establishment of settlement schemes in rural areas. Let's go through the options. We have to give land to rural, landless, extend similar urban services to the rural areas, make laws preventing movement of people from rural areas to urban areas, and then establish settlement schemes in the rural areas. So Pretty, when you say you establish settlement schemes in the rural areas, do you think that is going to make people to move to the rural areas?
Can I change
Madina.
my option?
Yes, Madina.
I think it's B.
It's D.
B, extend similar urban services to the rural areas.
So we are saying we should extend similar urban services to the rural areas. At least when you do that, if people have services that are maybe forcing them to come to the urban centers, they would definitely stay in the rural areas. But even when you make laws, they might still misbehave and they move to the rural areas. So the option is B. Number 16, Pretty.
Which of the following explains why Karamoja is sparsely populated? It's B. There is unreliable rainfall.
Pretty, you are so soft.
Which of the following explains why Karamoja is sparsely populated? B. There is little and unreliable rainfall.
Okay, so we're saying that one is automatically B, okay? Where we're saying there's little and unreliable rainfall. So limited economic activities can be carried out in these areas, and that is the reason why they're sparsely populated. Number 17. Sorry, I'm moving a little faster because remember we'll have the other sections that are also compulsory.
Which of the following primary industries produces the biggest percentage of East Africa's exports? I think it's B, agriculture.
So do we think it is B? When you look at all these ones, yes, they are primary industries, but we all know that Africa is an agriculture continent, and therefore, that is why she's looking at agriculture. So number 17, it is B. People putting up your hands, I don't know if you are denying or you have another option. Daniel, your hand is up.
Madam.
Daniel?
I'm tired of raising my hand. You don't want to choose me. You are choosing people you know.
Unfortunately, I don't know anyone in this class.
So why don't you
keep
choose
your
us?
hand there? You're going to respond to the next one. Sorry about that. Number 18. Daniel, you read number 18 and give us the answer. Daniel,
Which one of the following best represents natural vegetation? Zonation on Mountain Kilimanjaro. I think the answer is.
The answer is what?
A.
The answer is A. Yes. I hope we all know, we usually draw the mountain zonation in when we're looking at which part is that? Altitude, okay? Explaining that fact of altitude. That is when we look at mountain zonation, and we're saying, yes, we start with savanna, the tropical rainforest, and then heath and moorland. So where we have starting with moorland, that is not right. Tropical rainforest, so already B and C, they are eliminated. So when you look at D, D is saying savanna and then heath and moorland. So the best option is A. Thank you, Daniel. Agnes, number 19, read 19 and give us the answer. Agnes, are you there?
Which of the following fish preservation methods is most commonly used on Lake Victoria landing sites? It is A, sun drying.
Sun drying.
Sorry, it is D, smoking.
It is D. Thank you very much. So we are saying the common method that is used in the preservation of fish is smoking. I don't know how many of us have been to a landing site. We have several of them around Lake Victoria, Masese, Kasenyi, Gaba, and others. But you would find these people actually using that method of preservation. Number 20, anyone to take us through number 20? Pretty.
Which of the following power projects is located on River Tana?
What is your option?
I think.
The what?
I think it's D. D.
D. Isimba. On River Tana. Where is River Tana? Pretty. Where is River Tana? Let me try with
I think it's
Lina.
I think it's A.
I think it is A.
Yeah, Gitaru.
Gitaru, okay. Okay, so we are saying for 20, it is A. Okay, but Lina, do you know where Isimba project is? In which country? I want someone to tell us where Isimba Dam is. Lina? Yumi?
Tanzania.
In Tanzania, Isimba. You people, you need to go for field work. William? William, where?
It's in Uganda.
It is in Uganda. The new power project that was opened up. So you need to find out where exactly and which district, okay? William, take us through 20, read 20 and give us the option. 21, sorry.
21.
20, we said it's A. So take us through 20, 21. William, we can't hear. Angel, do you want to take us through?
Yes. The process by which a river erodes its bed using its load is called
hydraulic action. Do you agree with her?
No.
People, do you agree with her?
No.
So who is saying no? Pretty, what is the answer? William, what is the answer?
I think it's C.
C, okay. So we're saying the answer is C, abrasion. 22, Techno, take us, where have you gone now? Techno, read 22 and give us the answer. Techno, unmute. He has disappeared. Ida, 22, read 22 and give us the answer. A team.
Madam, I'm not reading a question. I didn't get the answer for number 21.
21 is C.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Divine. Divine, 22.
I think it is.
I'll read the question first.
The major tourist attraction on Lake Munyonya in southwest Uganda is B. Huh?
Flamingo birds, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So 22 is B. 23 should be for Medina. Medina, I hope this time Harun actually. Are you there? Read and give us the answer. 23, sorry. Medina, unmute. Okay, she's not there. Ida.
She's not there.
Ida. Pretty, read the question.
The deposition and accumulation of the materials that have been washed from the upper layers to the lower horizons of the soil profile is called A. Leaching.
Leaching, yeah? Let's see the other options. Mm-hmm. 23. According to Pretty, it's leaching. The rest of us, what do we say? Boston. Boston, unmute. Boston. Lina. Lina. Lina, what is the answer? She has declined. Faith.
I think it's C.
It is?
C.
We can't get you.
I think it's C.
C. Okay, so we're saying the option is C. Number 24. Who should take us through number 24? Divine, okay, Divine. Divine, you have declined. William?
Which of the following areas in Kenya University? And I think it's C. Kericho.
Okay, so at least that one we know. Kericho is well known for the growing of tea. Number 25. Bonaventure.
The fish type exported from Uganda is Tilapia.
Tilapia.
The major fish type, yeah? Yes. Tilapia. Sure. Remember, we're talking about exporting. Bonaventure.
So,
look at those options again. A and B, which one?
Snail.
It's snail patch, okay? So the option is A. Then 26. 26, Eliza. Eliza.
Maybe you choose someone else.
I think. Colin? Colin?
Faith
Colin, unmute. Faith?
She has also muted.
Faith, unmute.
Yes. Okay.
Number 26.
The process through which the outer layers of rocks split, the rocks peel off due to temperature variations.
Okay, so we're looking at the process through which the outer layers of rocks peel off due to temperature variations is known as, what is the answer?
B.
The answer is B. Okay, thank you. Number 27. Number 27. Monira.
Madam, can you hear me?
Yes.
Says,
so you're reading number 27.
Madam, good meaning in Kenya is on a small scale mainly because I can put A.
A, gold mining in Western Kenya is on a small scale, mainly because of, according to Monira, he's saying it is A, which is poor transport. Anyone else? I have Kevin. Kevin, please don't disappear. Appeal. Do you have the same option like Monira?
Actually, my option is
your option is,
which is small mineral deposits.
Small mineral
it's
deposits. B. Okay, thank you. So Monira, we are saying the answer is B, that gold in Kenya is in small deposits. That's the main reason why they're not mining it. For the poor transport, they can always maneuver. But when it appears in small quantities, then they can't. Okay. Number 28, Galaxy S8. You have disappeared, Galaxy. Kevin, read number 28 and give us the answer. Kevin, are you there? Galaxy 8. Unmute. Hey, people.
Madam, I was not getting you. What did you say?
Read question 28 and give us the answer.
I read number 28.
Yes.
Yes, I'm there. The Salamite. Yeah, I've unmuted. Are you getting me, madam?
Yes, yes, we are.
Madam, are you getting me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes, Kevin, we're getting you. Galax, let me go with Galax. He has a problem. Galax, 8. Few people. Bonaventure. Daniel, yes.
Number 28. Yes?
Yes.
Number 28, I think it is.
It is what? I didn't hear the answer he said. Daniel, come back. I missed your answer. Faith?
Okay, madam, I think it's B.
You think it is D? D is oxidation.
B.
Have you been to Nyakasura?
Madam, I said B, not B.
We said B.
Yeah.
Okay, she's saying the answer is B, but my question still stands. Have you been to Nyakasura?
Yeah.
Have you been to Nyakasura?
No, madam.
Oh, you need to go there and they'll give you the explanation. But I know even your teachers have done this in class. So what is the best answer? It is not B, it's not D. Galax? Okay. Yes, Pretty?
It's carbonation.
So number 28, the answer is carbonation, which is A. Okay, thank you. Number 29. Pretty, read number 29. Monira, are you reading number 29?
Yes, madam.
Okay.
The following
the words are disappearing. We can't hear you. Which of the following pastoralists in East Africa practice true transhumance? Those are pastoral groups, the Turkana, the Kamajongs, the Masai, Pokoto. So which one is the best option here? Pretty? Oh, I have Immaculate here. Yes, Immaculate, which one is the best option? The what? Pokoto? No. Immaculate, what is your answer? So number 29 is Turkana. Those are true nomads, okay? And then lastly, 30, which of the following wildlife reserves is the largest in East Africa? So we're saying all those ones are wildlife reserves, but which one is the largest? Ainembabazi.
I think the answer is B.
Madam.
The answer is what? Ainembabazi, I missed your answer. Haruna, please mute your microphone. Jovita? Jovita, which one is the answer?
I think the answer is D.
D. Masabiti? No. Monira?
My answer is B.
Yours is?
B.
B, okay. So we are saying the largest wildlife reserve is B, okay. So those are the different objectives that we had for this session, but please make sure you look at the UNEP booklets and try out those different objectives from the different UNEP papers. Like we said, you begin with the elimination method and then see how many you have remained with and you choose the best option, okay? We skipped map work because it is not easy for us to do map work online. We all don't have the maps at home, so that is why I didn't put map work, but we all know that after the objectives, we have map work, which is also compulsory for everyone. So even that one, you need to practice more so the drawing of the cross-section. Now let's look at photographic interpretation. Who is taking us through photographic interpretation? There are people who had prepared. So anyone ready to take us through? Patience? Patience, please first take off your video and then mute your microphone.
There are people whose hands have been up. I don't know whether they wanted to answer this or they had different questions.
So I'm not seeing them. Okay.
There was Apio Kevin. And
Apio Kevin, do you want to take us through field work? Sorry, photographic interpretation. Kevin, you have the right to.
There's also William.
Madam, I wanted to take us through field work.
Field work. So let us first finish. We'll come back to you, okay? Let's first finish with a photo. Okay, Media Joy, you want to take us through photo?
Yes, I can try to take us through photographic interpretation.
Okay.
Okay, so
Emilia, we are ready for you. So I hope everyone has looked at that photograph. Please look at the photograph. Yes, here on the screen, it is in color, okay? But remember, on paper, it will not be in color, okay? So some of these features, you really have to look at them critically for you to be able to see it. Just imagine if it was black and white. I don't know if you would be able to see the road or the footpath that is there. But yes, let us use this one that is in color, but remember in the exams, it would be black and white. Over to you, Joy.
The first part of our photograph asks us to identify the main land use activity taking place in the area shown in the photograph. So the main land use activity that is taking place in the photograph is wildlife conservation. And I'm saying it's wildlife.
So someone is saying it is wildlife conservation. Anyone else with another option? Which activity would you say? Pretty.
Tourism.
Pretty is saying for her, she's seeing tourism. So, Emilia.
Tourism.
Let's first also hear from Kevin. Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, I think the mainland use activity I'm seeing settlement.
You're seeing settlement in the foreground.
No, in the foreground.
Settlements are hidden.
Tourism.
You're seeing tourism. Okay.
Yeah.
Boston, what are you seeing? Boston? Boston?
Maybe Mrs. Seriang. Maybe to save time, they would help us understand why some people are saying tourism, some people are saying wildlife conservation. Can they support their answers? Why tourism or why wildlife conservation?
So Emilia, you were the first one where you said it is wildlife conservation. Why? Emilia, you've disappeared. Where are you? Bridget? Bridget? Faster, faster, so that we save time. Bridget is not sure. William? William? Agnes? People, I don't know why you are not unmuting. Agnes.
Chami, I'm saying tourism. Due to the path.
Why are you saying tourism?
Due to the paths that are shown.
What are the facts there?
The paths.
The path here?
Yes.
So the path, what do they represent?
They are representing they are showing that there's some people who come in and they travel around and they carry out tourism.
Okay, thank you very much. That is her reason. She's seeing that path that is sure that is being used by the tourists, okay? Who else? Who else? Immaculate. Faster, faster.
I'm saying wildlife conservation due to the gloves there. But if you are saying it's tourism, there must be some people observing. Now, if you are saying the path, even wildlife, the people working in wildlife can use those paths when treating animals which are having some problems. So I'm saying wildlife conservation due to the presence of gloves.
Okay, thank you. So, dear participants, under this activity, we shall agree when, there's a difference between an economic activity and a land use, okay? When it comes to an economic activity, it's that activity that has value, where you're going to get some money, some income, okay? And then land use, we're saying the actual activity that is carried out on that piece of land. So right now here, we can't say, because they asked for the land use, we can't say it is tourism. If it was the economic activity, probably would have said tourism. But in this case, we are saying that the land use activity is wildlife conservation. Okay? Then I don't remember, but someone said that the main activity is settlement because she's seeing some settlements somewhere. Yes, there are settlements, but we are saying when they give you a photograph, unless if they have specified that in the background, but if it is not that, you consider mainly the foreground and the middle ground. And when we look at the foreground and middle ground, we are seeing wildlife conservation and extensive land. Okay? Emilia, where are you to take us through?
Mrs. Sarang, maybe to add on that one, the person who said settlement, if she goes back to the question, they're saying the main land use. So when you look at the settlement, it is kind of hidden. Like it is not something that when I open this photograph, it is something I'm going to see in the first place. What I see immediately are the animals and the trees and the plants, the grass. So that makes the wildlife conservation the main one compared to settlement that you have to first look for in the background.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Judith. Emilia, where are you? You are the one taking us through this part B. You have the right to unmute.
And maybe as she unmutes, another thing that they need to remember in this question is, in many cases, they're not going to ask you with a reason, but when you're answering this question, you must have a reason. Like we are saying it is 1 mark, and then you're going to say wildlife conservation. You have to tell us, why do you think it is wildlife conservation? When you just give your answer as wildlife conservation, it will definitely not be marked. It will only be marked if you give the reason why you think it is wildlife conservation.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Juliet. Yes, over to you, Emilia.
Part B says, draw a landscape sketch of the photograph underneath, mark and name 2 vegetation types, the highland and a road. So first when we
have also D.
And the settlements. So when we are drawing the landscape sketch, first of all, it's supposed to be in about the same shape with our photograph. Then we are going to indicate the 2 vegetation types, that's the grass and the trees that are after the graphs, that are behind the graphs.
So when you indicate, remember they have said you mark and name, okay? So how are we going to make a key?
You name in the photograph. So when you indicate the grass, you'll name that this is a grass, and then when you indicate the trees are in the middle ground, you'll indicate that they are the trees. Then the highland is in the background. So you'll also indicate it and name it that this is a highland. Then we have the road. The road is in the foreground. The road is in the foreground, so you also indicate it. Then we have settlements. The settlements are on the highland. So where you've drawn your highland, somewhere on it, you also indicate the settlements.
My network went off, but I'm back. Emilia, are you still on?
Yes, teacher, I am.
Are you done with the sketch?
Then when you're drawing the sketch, you do not forget to put a title. You have to put the title there. That's a landscape sketch of, let me say, the photograph showing the 2 vegetation types, highland, road, and the other things that they would have indicated for you to show. Okay, yes, that is it for a photograph.
Okay, thank you. So you draw the shape of the photograph. That one, don't forget. You can divide this photograph into 3, the foreground, the middle ground, and then the background. One thing you must know, that the features that they've asked you to draw, you have to draw them the way they appear. For example, if they had asked you to draw the wildlife, you would have to draw that giraffe the way it appears, not a cartoon one. Then the grass, let's be able to see that this is grass, and then the trees should actually be different from, you know, if it's a map, you would use symbols, but in this case, you're not using symbols. And you must label on your sketch photograph that you have drawn. If it is grass, you write the word grass. Trees, write the word trees. The highlands, do the same thing. And like Joy said, you must give a title. And in this case, we would not need to have a key. Okay, but make sure you aim at putting the features that they've asked you to put instead of crowding your photograph. Okay, C?
Part
Joy?
C, Part C, Part I says, explain the factors which have favored the land use activity shown in the foreground of the photograph. Here, when they say explain the factors, you're going to basically explain the factors that are favored. Let me say the activity is stated in Part A. So here we shall be explaining the factors that have favored wildlife conservation. And among these are the presence of vast land, of enough land that is there, and therefore has been the land that is present, which they are using for the land use activity for wildlife conservation.
Emilia and then the rest of us, when they ask you in the photograph, for example, to explain the factors which have favored the land use activity or whichever activity it is, you must give evidence from the photograph. Without the evidence, you would not get a mark. What am I saying? You get the factor, okay? Give us the evidence, and probably you explain to us the importance of that factor. When you talk about extensive land, we need evidence from the photograph. What shows that there is extensive land? You could refer people to the foreground and background, where we're seeing a lot of land that is actually not being used for agricultural activities or other activities. That is evidence enough for extensive land. Is that clear? I didn't say you mute yourself.
And maybe to add on, she should forget about the word enough, because we don't know what is enough. She had started well, then she brought in enough.
Okay, so Emilia, continue.
Then the favorable vegetation type, the savanna grass that is shown in the foreground, which favors wildlife conservation, since they are in the savanna that we are seeing, there are trees which these wild animals can feed on. For example, the graphs that have been shown in the photograph.
Okay, that is right. Next factor.
Then the presence of the wild animals themselves, and these are shown in the foreground, because you cannot conserve wildlife if you do not have it.
Okay. Any other factor that you could think of?
Janan?
Okay, so anyone else who can give us another factor, but please be mindful that you have to give us examples or evidence from the photograph. The other factors we could look at, let me first look at Lina. Yes, Lina?
For the extensive land that has
Lina, we can't hear you. People, is it me or is actually Lina? Lina, we can't hear anything. So I was saying the other factors we could look at is the well-developed transport network, and then in a photograph we can clearly see the road that is being used by the cars or trucks that go through this national park. You know, they don't make clear transport routes. They're usually maram roads. And when you were going into the park itself, you might have to get into areas where there are no roads, but you can actually see an example of a road in the foreground. Then we could think about skilled labor. So here, when we talk about skilled labor, someone might wonder, where is the labor? But look at, we're thinking that these animals have guides that take good care of them, even those that are going to treat them. But we're also talking about skilled labor, imagining that there are people who came up with that road, the ones that constructed the road. Still availability of capital. Capital, we are looking at the construction of a road that we are seeing, construction of the settlements that we are seeing in the background, and probably also the guides have to be paid. So that is also another form of capital. Then the positive government policy. At least we are seeing that the government has not given away this land for any other activity, but it's mainly for wildlife conservation. So maybe the government gazetted off this land for wildlife conservation, and therefore we're looking at the positive government policy. Then the harsh climatic conditions. Just look at how the grass looks like. It is yellowish, meaning that the area receives hot temperatures and probably unreliable rainfall. That is why we're talking about the harsh climatic conditions, which have not favored agriculture, and therefore we're not seeing people using this land for agriculture. We could, Emilia talked about the variety of wildlife, true. Okay, and then abundant pasture. We're seeing the grass that is used to feed these animals. So those are some of the factors that have favored this activity, but please remember to always give evidence from the photograph. Emilia, take us through, I don't know, is it D or C2?
Before you continue, so in addition to them remembering the evidence, they should always remember the adjective as well. I hope they understand what that
very
means.
Important.
Yeah.
People were saying every activity that you give, factor, make sure you include an adjective, okay? That's why I said positive government policy, adequate capital, skilled labor, well-developed transport network, okay? Even when someone else might disagree with me that the transport network is not that developed, but we're saying you must give an adjective, okay? And then you also give evidence from the photograph. Before we go to C2, Precious has a question. Precious.
Madam, are you getting me?
Yes.
Madam, I don't have a question, but I was just saying I'm doing field work.
You're doing field work? Field work was already booked by Kevin. So Emilia, take us through some C2. Emilia, C2, where are you?
I'm present.
C2 says, sorry, we're running out of time.
Explain the problems facing the land use activity in the area shown in the photograph. One of the problems I think is conflict between the land use activities. For example, in our photograph, we can see that they are carrying out wildlife conservation, but in its background, there is as if it's settlement that is occurring there. So people are settling on the land, which I think was actually meant for wildlife conservation.
Okay, or we could say actually encroachment on the land. Okay, that land was gazetted off as a national park or a game reserve, but now we are seeing people who have settled there. So that means they're taking away the land that is meant to be for a national park, and definitely that is going to cause conflicts. Next.
Then Then I think there are harsh climatic conditions, because in our picture we are seeing that
my network is on and off. I was saying that, remember, when you're giving points, please give a minimum of 5 points so that you're on a safer side. Even when they say 3 marks, make sure you give a minimum of 5 points for you to be safe. Even when you fail 2, you still get all the marks, okay? So Emilia has given us encroachment on the land. The other one was to do with land conflicts, but we're also looking at poaching. Yes, we have those people who come and poach these animals for different purposes, for their beef or maybe for example, if elephants, you would think that they're going to take the hides, okay? Yeah. Then the other one is prolonged drought, that if we have more months for under the dry season, then you would find that the animals will not have water to drink. Dangerous diseases and pests. These can also attack the animals, and then they would not be able to grow well. Then the hostile tribes. And then we have limited capital. We all know that capital can never be enough, okay? So if it is not enough, then that means there's limited capital for this economic, also sorry, for this land use. Lina, yes?
Okay, teacher, what if I'm like, there is limit, like inadequate laborers to provide manpower, since in the photograph, I'm not spotting any human being, so there are signs of people being there. Would that point be correct?
Yes, it is. Thank you. I hope people, you've noted that point. Agnes?
Madam, Madam, can you hear me?
Yes.
You've talked about the point of poaching. But that point has no evidence.
By the way, for the problems, you might not have evidence, okay? But looking at what you're seeing, some of them you might have evidence, but the others you might not have. Because definitely when we see people encroaching on their land, apart from them using it for other economic activities, don't you think they're also going to come and disorganize the animals? By looking out for food. Okay, Emilia, do number part D.
Suggest with evidence an area in East Africa where the photograph could have been taken. I think the photograph was taken in Queen Elizabeth National Park in Kasese because of the savanna grass, and presence of the wild animals, the giraffes.
Okay, so in this case, thank you very much, Emilia. So we're saying you come up with any national park in East Africa, okay? And most of those that have mainly the savanna grasslands, Queen Elizabeth National Park, Makshan Falls, Lake Imburu National Park, Chidepo Valley National Park, and the others, okay? But remember, you have to give evidence. Here she's giving us evidence of savanna grasslands. I have people with questions. Boston, yes? Boston, your hand is up. Unmute.
How many marks are awarded there?
With what? The entire number or just the last part?
How many marks are awarded there?
The entire number is out of 15. Okay, the entire number is out of 15. The last part is usually takes 2 marks. Yes, one for the identifying the place and the other one for the reason.
Okay.
Thank you. Then Faith, you also have a question?
Okay, madam, I beg your pardon for part D.
Part D, we said you just, under this one, you just have to come up with any national park in East Africa. Like she said, Queen Elizabeth National Park. Then we said Chidepo Valley National Park. It could be Maction Falls. You just give us one, okay? And then the evidence she's giving is an savanna grasslands that we're mainly seeing in the foreground, and then the scattered trees.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yes, William, when you have a question? William, unmute. William, I gave you permission to unmute. Hatim Mercy?
Yes, madam. My problem is drawing the landscape sketch. It still confuses me.
For the landscape sketch, we said you're going to draw what you're seeing. For example, you draw that rectangle because that is the shape of the photograph. After drawing the rectangle, divide it into 3, and they're not equal parts. Remember, the photograph is divided into 3 main parts: the foreground, the middle ground, and then the background. So see how you're going to demarcate off to come up with those 3. And then after that, just put in only what they've asked you to include in that photograph. In this case, they said the roads, they talked about highlands, they talked about settlements, and then the vegetation. So if you go ahead and you draw the animals, you're just wasting time, okay? Because they would not award any mark for you there.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. Kaziba. Mr. Kaziba, are you there?
Yes, teacher Flavia. I'm going to
We have run out of time.
Teacher Flavia, it is okay. And because I'm seeing students still want to learn, I'm going to just create a breakout room for senior 6, but for them, let them stay here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kale, thank you very much. So people will have to continue. Kevin, you had booked the field work number, and that is the one now we're going to look at. So are you ready, Kevin? Kevin, are you there? I want to give you the rates, so take us through field work. Unmute. Kevin, you have the rates.
Yeah, thank you very much, madam. Are you getting me?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I'm going to take us through fieldwork questions. And it's saying for any one fieldwork study you have conducted, either as a group or an individual, then A, state the topic of the study. That is Roman numeral 1 of the part A. So when they say we state the topic of the study, for example, yes, madam?
Kevin, go on. It's someone else, not me.
Yeah.
Kevin, go on.
For example, I can see the growth and development topic of the study to be the growth and development of Banda Market in Nakawa Division, Kampala City.
Okay.
Yes.
So when you look at the topic that, Kevin, before you go on, when you look at the topic that he has given, we're saying this, that the growth and development of Banda market in Nakawa division, maybe in Kampala, okay? So you have to give us the name of the place. Sorry, the topic, we should be brief and precise, and then where it is found, its location, and in which district in Uganda, okay? And that is what she has done. So everyone, you know which topic you're going to look at when it comes to field work. So be ready to state your topic clearly, okay? If it is something that is within your school, please make sure you do not mention the name of your school, okay? For example, when someone talks about Banda market, I'm thinking of Chambogo College. So just imagine if this market was in Chambogo College. There's no way you're going to say the growth and development of a market in Chambogo College. You're already biasing the examiner.
Yeah, can I continue, madam?
And development of Banda market in Nakawa division. Okay, Kevin, go on.
Roman numeral 2 is the objectives of the study.
But you need to be a little louder, eh?
Yeah, state the objectives of the study. So, first of all, the objectives must be the objectives of study. They must be measurable and achievable, and they should be relevant to the topic. Now, if I'm to state the objectives of the study, the first one is to find out the location of the field, of which it was found out that, or I found out that the location of Banda market is in Nakawa division in Kampala city. And then secondly, find out the historical background of Banda market. And then the third one, can I continue or I leave the two?
Go on, just give us 4.
Yeah, to find out the historical background of Banda market, then to find out the commodities sold at Banda market, and which was found out. I can give the example. So when we are giving that point, you should give, for example, I'm going to give to find out the commodities sold at Banda market. For example, I saw or I found out that banana is sold at Banda market. So the next one is to find out the problems faced by the market vendors in Banda market. So of which, I continue? So I can say on that I found out that the problem faced by the market vendors in Banda market was price fluctuation.
So there we are looking at the objectives. Teacher Juliet, you want to say something?
Yes.
Okay.
What is she doing?
She was giving us the objectives, okay? But I just wanted to let her first finish, then I come in, but it's okay.
Okay.
Make your submission.
We let her first finish?
No, she has actually done.
Oh, unfortunately, I wasn't able to hear her first objective. What was her first objective?
The first objective was to find out the historical background of Banda market.
No, madam. The first one was to find out the location of Banda market.
The location.
Okay, yeah, I needed to hear that. And then I was wondering, what's her name? Why were you giving the answers? So when you're setting these objectives, you don't have to answer them. You just set the objectives. I think that's why I was asking what she was doing. I was not understanding well.
Okay, that is also what I was going to comment on, is that, Kevin, when they ask for the objectives, just state them, okay? Like you said, they should be clear and precise. Just state them the way they are. Don't tell us what you saw, because somewhere they might ask you to write down what you observed in that market. So here, when they ask for the objectives, you just have to state them. And I think, Teacher Juliet, they should be in a certain order. I can't talk about problems, then I come and talk about items sold in this market.
Yes. Especially
so they
the
should
first
be in a certain order.
Mm.
And they should begin with the word to do this, to find out, to know, to find out, okay?
To know is not okay.
You can't say to know, okay, sorry.
Yeah, it's not measurable. They can talk about to find out, to identify. How I wish they would just look at those two. There are many others, but those two are the best. To find out, and then to identify, and then the first two should be location and then historical background. And like you said, the order really matters. You cannot tell me the solution before the problems.
Okay. Kevin, we're still with you. Take us through part B.
Excuse me,
But then, and don't you think these people could be having questions, the ones who are putting up their hands?
Actually, someone is saying, excuse me. So I'm very sorry, but yes, let's first hear. Yes, Mr. Kaziba.
Yes, I'm requesting the Form 6. I have opened up a breakout room. So what you do, those using a phone, check in the upper left corner of your phone, upper left corner, there is an icon of breakout room. Click on that breakout room and enter Senior 6 Mathematics. Form 6s that are here, we are using a breakout room. So just click there and then enter your room. But in case you are failing, rename yourself and put Senior 6. I will be able to send you in that breakout room. Thank you, Teacher Fred.
Thank you, Mr. Kaziba. Okay, now I have Boston. Boston, you have a question? Yes, go ahead. Boston, do you have a question? Yes, Brian. Brian, unmute.
Yes, madam.
Yes.
What is the meaning of the objectives? The meaning of objectives.
The meaning of objectives?
Yeah.
Teacher Juliet, someone is asking for the meaning of objectives. That's
Why
Brian.
are you carrying out field work?
Actually, madam, it's an topic to me.
That is the meaning, eh? Like, why are you carrying out field work? I'm carrying out field work because I need to know the location of the place where I'm carrying out field work. So that is what we mean by the objectives. I don't know if I've answered him.
I've got it.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Kevin, back to you. We also have Barbara. Barbara, you have a question?
So I'm going to part B, which says...
Kevin, before you go to part B, let's first listen to Barbara.
Madam.
Yes, Barbara.
I was just asking that how would you meant to write the topic of study? I didn't understand it. Could you please
how
to write the topic of study?
Teacher Juliet, how should we write the topic of study?
The topic of study should bring out what and where. What did you study? Where was the study? That is how the topic should be written. So if, for example, you're talking about maybe, what can I say, dairy farming somewhere, you're talking about the growth and development, then you name the farm. Let me say Kajansi Dairy Farm. Then where is Kajansi Dairy Farm found? Maybe it is found in Kajansi in Wakiso district. So what you studied is the dairy farm where in Kajansi in Wakiso district. I hope that helps.
Okay, thank you, Teacher Juliet. Back to you, Kevin.
So question B part is saying, explain the activities that you made before conducting a field work study.
So what are those activities?
Those are they are the preparation of which the first one is identification of the area of study. So the second one is formulation of topic. Okay, in identification of study is where we carry out pilot study, and the second one is carrying out pilot study, and then the third one is formulation of topic. Then the last one is using the suitable methods to be used in the collection of the geographical data in the fieldwork. But here, since they say that we should explain, should I just say it or explain the whole of it?
You state one, tell us what to do.
So when they ask you to explain the activities you have made before conducting the field study, the first one is identification of the area of study, of which in the Roman numeral 1 of the topic of study. So, for example, if we say identification of the study, for example, we are going to carry out the field work from. And then the second one is carrying out pilot study, of which it is either done by the class teacher or by the geography teacher, or it's also done by the class captains, of which you can say, so yeah, under that, the second one is carrying out the pilot study, of which I had been clear. I said it's where we identify the topic of study from. So the third one is basing on the knowledge of the fieldwork study, we formulate the objectives of the study, of which, if you had to flash back in Roman numeral 2 of A part, we say the objectives of the first one, the location of the field. Then after that, then we have lastly, we have we choose the methods, the suitable methods to be used in the study. For example, we can use observation method, we can use recording method, we can use viewing method, we can also use measuring and map orientation. So those are the first 4, of which these first 4 steps should be given in the sequence. If I say in the sequence, it means that the first 4 activities just from mentioning should be written in order, like the first one, the second following each other, to the fourth. Then the other is also mobilizing research tools and instruments like measuring tapes, measuring rulers, and etc. So those ones can be listed. You can write them after writing the first 4 activities. And then also, depending on the number they have given. So can I go to C?
Maybe before you go to C.
Madam, if you have something to say.
I don't know who wanted to say something. I'm seeing people's hands up, but she was giving us what is expected of us. Okay, that when they ask for activities that were carried out before, you have to write them in a certain order. First of all, you begin by identifying the areas you want to visit. Then a pilot study is done. And under that one, you're seeking for permission to go and visit those different areas from the owners of those different areas. And then finding out who would be able to take you through. Then after that, you formulate a topic. And here you must state the topic. Okay, so it's not only formulating a topic, then you also give us the topic that was formulated. Remember, in our part A, Roman 1, we actually stated the topic. So you should again state it under this one. Then you also formulate the objectives, and you give us the examples of objectives that were formulated in A2 or Roman 2. Then the methods that you're going to use during your field work study, which methods are you going to apply? So again, you are not just going to tell us methods, but you list the methods like she said that you're going to use. For example, observation, recording, questionnaire, interview, sketching, measurement, etc. Depending on the methods that you probably used in your field work. Then you also look out for the tools or equipment that you're going to use. You talked about the tape measure, the maps, and all the other equipment that you need. Then from there, you go and seek for permission from the head teacher, because remember, you must have permission for you to go out. So it is either done by your teacher or you as an individual. But remember, they said for any field work carried out as a group or as an individual. So if you want to do as a group, then you're going to use, we did ABCD. We formulated the topic, we formulated the objectives, and these are the objectives we came up with. We formulated the different methods that we're going to use. That is for as a group. But if it is as an individual, then you stick, I did this and this. But if you are using I, then throughout the questions, you should use I. If you're using we, that is as a group, then you stick to we. So don't use we and then somewhere you use I. Then you have a problem there. And then you organize for transport and wait for the day you are supposed to go to the field. So that is the order in which you should actually present those different activities that were done before you went to the field. Boston, do you still have a question?
Mrs. Serianga, maybe before Boston comes in, maybe something else they need to remember is the fact that they must own the field work. In most cases, students, when they come to the pilot study, they say the teacher, but they're not asking the teacher the field work. The question is for you, not the teacher. Okay, so when you're answering the question, make sure you own the field work. It is your field work. Yeah, we know that students don't go for the pilot study, but it is your field work, not the teacher's field work. So make sure you own it. And then those who have not got the order very well, the one you've just given, there are people who are giving it well in the chart. They could review the chart and get it prepared.
Thank you, Teacher Juliet. Boston, did you have a question?
Yes. My emphasis is on the topic of study. It is not clear.
The what?
The topic of study. It's not clear. Let's use a general one, because that one.
Like? Give us one that is general.
The growth and development of Masese landing site.
Okay, yes, true. The growth and development of Masese landing site in Jinja district.
No.
Don't only stop at Masese landing site. Where is it found?
It's not. It's incomplete.
Okay, you complete
Some
it.
teachers say that you must. The growth and development of Masese Fish Landing Site along shores of Lake Victoria in Masese Division, Jinja District. That's the correct one.
Okay.
Masese Division, that's where it's located, and the district.
And when you look at your topic that you are giving us, it is actually in line with what Kevin gave us. Now for you, you did your field work in Masese landing site. For them, they went to Banda Market. So that means we have different field works that we have carried out.
I never had the division where.
Oh, she said Nakawa division in Kampala district.
But then also we have areas that don't have division.
So basically the participants, Boston is saying you should be able, when you are answering that part of where, you tell us the division and then you also tell us that this.
Yeah. But we also have areas that don't have divisions. Then what do you say? Anyway, what is important is you make sure that the last should be a district or a municipality. But then before we come to the district, we also need to know that area. Could it be a village? Could it be a sub-county? Okay, so it's not a must that it has to be a division, because there are areas where we don't have that word division, but they have a sub-county. Okay?
Okay.
Kevin, continue.
Actually, madam, I'm not seeing the questions now. I don't know what has happened.
Sorry, I went off, but back. So the next question, they're asking you to draw a sketch map of the area of study, and on it mark and name the physical features and then the land use activities. Kevin, what is it that we have to do?
It says that we should draw a sketch. So when they ask us to draw the sketch map of the area of study, first of all, we should draw an annotated sketch map of which the features are labeled with local names. And also the map should have a title, should have a front, should have direction and the key. So in the map, we should not use pictures. That is one. That is what we should remember. But we should use symbols to identify the features we have located in the map. So here they ask us to what? To mark and name physical features. So when they say we should draw, we should mark and name the physical features. For example, if I told it's a hill, rivers, which is a drainage, we also have valleys, which is a relief. So we make sure we use symbols. If it's hill, we use a symbol of a hill. We don't draw pictures with picture, but we use its symbol. So we also, if there is a stream, you also include a stream, because here ask for the features you have found there. So I hope on that, madam.
Okay, yes, Kevin, I'm there. I know we have done the field work. We've gone to the field, and actually our teachers have shown us how to draw these maps. But from what Kevin has said, she's emphasizing that please make sure this time you use symbols. Don't draw the actual pictures, but use symbols. And they're asking for relief features. Probably you have a stream somewhere, you have a valley somewhere, you might be having a hill somewhere. So make sure you present those ones on the map, okay? The land use activities, what else is in the, for example, Banda Market or Masese landing site, apart from fishing, which other activities are carried out? So we need to see them on your map and make sure they're saying map, mark and name. So you label on the map itself. You show us the key that maybe for this symbol, it is representing rivers. For this symbol, it is representing this. But remember to show the qualities of a good map. Okay? Teacher Juliet, anything you want to add on? Teacher Juliet? Kevin, do number D and then we see.
I think it was clear. Sorry, I had kind of gone off. I think it was clear. I think that's fine.
Madam,
Okay.
I'm seeing an app. I'm seeing an app from Arafat. Maybe if he has some question, you allow him ask.
Okay, Boston, ask.
No, I'm not.
He has declined. So Kevin?
Last part, which is outline the findings of your study.
So Kevin, so what are your findings? What were your findings?
When they say, okay, when they ask you to outline the findings of your study, I will say,
what did you find out in the field? Do you remember when you were giving us the, what were they, the objectives? You're giving us the objectives and what you discovered in the field, okay? So when you use the observation method, what did you see? Were you able to see the different items sold in the market? So you tell us, what did you find out in the market?
Mrs. Seriange.
Wanji.
Can I come in a little?
Yes.
That is the findings of the study. Eh? The findings of the study is another way of asking us the relationships. They can ask you the relationships instead of using the word findings. They can ask you, what did you learn in the study? They can, I've forgotten the third one. So in this case, when they are talking about the findings, they are supposed to bring out the relationships. Now, these relationships can be relief, can be relief human,
Physical,
can
physical.
be human. I don't know if that helps.
People, have you understood?
Yes, madam.
Okay,
Kevin,
so for
yes?
instance, can I go on? Yeah, for instance, they can actually ask that question saying that using the method. So they can relate it to the method. They can relate it to the method of study, but maybe through observation, we are able to find out that. Now the problem is I don't know which area to use, but they can be able to find out that maybe Masese Road has facilitated transportation of fish from the landing site to the market centers. So that relationship is physical, I mean human. We have the road and then the market. So that is how they state the findings.
So they would still have to go back and revise that part?
Yes.
Thank you, Kevin, for taking us through field work. Those are the compulsory. You can imagine we've just done only the compulsory numbers. The areas we have not looked at, but I know you have the questions. Please use them as your revision questions, because some people have already asked, teacher, what time is the lesson ending? Yes, we know it was supposed to end at 4. We are very sorry we had to continue because we wanted to finish the compulsory numbers. You also have to look at paper 2, the different questions and the regions that you do in your different schools, and yeah, you go through them. Kenneth, do you have a question? Kenneth?
Yes. Yes, madam.
Yes, your hand is up.
Yeah, for me, I'm not so more contented about the part D. I'm not getting part D. First part on part D.
Part D, they're asking you to outline the findings from your study. And teacher says that for you to be able to do it very well, especially now it is general, you have to look at the physical features that you drew on your map in relation to the physical, or the physical in relation to the human in relation to the human, that how has some of those features actually influenced the activities carried out in those areas. That's why I said you'd need to revise this more and understand it, okay? So that we get 15 out of 15. Teacher Juliet, is it 15 or 20? The field work question. So if there are no questions, I beg that we stop here, but please make sure you look at the others, okay? The other questions, discuss, you might not discuss, but at least you go through them. If you have any questions, you would know how to get back to us. I want to wish you a nice week and a nice weekend. Someone to give us the closing prayer. Who wants to give us the closing prayer? Okay, there is someone who had not said anything. Clement, give us the closing prayer.
My sentence for us loving Jesus, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the gift of life that you have given unto us, Father. We thank you for everything. We thank you for the knowledge and wisdom you have given us unto us. Father, many have died, but we are still alive because of your mercy. We thank you for our teachers who have been teaching us, O King of Glory. We pray that you always be with us. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, we pray.
Amen. Thank you very much. I wish you a nice evening, not even afternoon, a nice evening. God bless you all.
Wise madam.
Thank you, Teacher Juliet.